Hello and welcome to another webinar here by the Societies of Photographers. We're live on the Facebook page and our members group. It's fantastic to be back. Today's webinar, we're joined by Alex Benyon, who's going to be talking all about his photo project, Portraits of Mental Health. This webinar is proudly supported by Sony and London Camera Exchange. So Alex is a documentary, portrait and street photographer and also a mental health awareness advocate. As we all know, on Saturday, the 10th of October, it was World Mental Health Day, which is an international day for global mental health education, awareness, and the advocacy against social stigma. Portraits of Mental Health is a mental health awareness project by Alex with the goal to help end stigma attached to mental health issues by sharing inspirational stories and portraying the real people behind the labels. Alex is going to discuss his approach to capturing the genuine portraits of the people involved in this project, the ambitions for the project, as well as sharing his own experiences of how photography helped him with his own mental health issues. So, guys, welcome to the webinar. It's great to have you on board today. It's brilliant to be back. A really interesting webinar coming up, something that we've been talking about in the societies about mental health and trying to do our bit to raise awareness. So it's brilliant to get this on. It's fitting perfectly into kind of like what we're trying to do at the moment. So, Alex, thank you so much for agreeing to do this for us. It's brilliant to have you on.
No, thanks very much for having me, Colin. Thanks for supporting and hosting this project and this webinar. I've been a member of the societies since I've turned professional, really. So I'm very, very grateful to be a part of the societies, and thank you for today.
No, we're very honoured to be sharing the story for you. The kind of the bits I've seen in the background. It looks a really interesting project. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about the project and how it all came about, what your plans for it are. As you say, sharing those stories behind the pictures and behind the people as well. Mark, thank you again for joining us. It's brilliant to have you on again.
Yeah, morning. Great to see you guys. Thank you as well, Colin. Brilliant to be here and supporting this.
No, we appreciate you helping us by supporting the webinars. It's fantastic, and we've done some fantastic webinars over the last few weeks with Sony, and we've got lots more in the pipeline. So thank you for your continued support on this, Mark. It is really appreciated, and we're getting a lot of content out there which would normally be doing on the road shows, or the normal means that we'd be out there. So doing them virtually as we have been doing has been fantastic, and I know the members are really appreciating all these webinars that we're doing.
No, thank you again, and I think maybe going forward as well. This is a fantastic opportunity to listen to Alex and his experience, especially around the mental health element. So, and of course, it's a poignant reminder this weekend of what's going on with mental health as well. So, more than happy to support that. And I think going forward, it might be worth doing, putting something out there to the audience, to the members as well, that if there is something that the members are looking for more information on, then of course we can link that with a relevant photographer, relevant product, photography genre, and offer that to the members again in the future. So, but yeah, lots going on, and really looking forward to hearing from Alex today.
Brilliant. So if you're watching and you've got any questions for Alex or Mark, then please post them in the comments, and we will fire them towards either Alex or Mark throughout the webinar. So please do post in the comments any questions you have. And with that, I think that's a fantastic introduction, and we will hand the reins over to Alex. So over to you, Alex.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So yes, hopefully my screen is nicely shared with everyone. Yep, there we go. Brilliant. Thank you. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. Great to be working with societies and Sony again. So this webinar is basically, it kind of coincides with World Mental Health Day, which was on Saturday. And it's very much, the presentation is going to be very much about my personal journey with mental health and the project that I've started and how I came to that project. I'm also going to share some images and some videos of the people involved with the project and discuss why I started the project and the hopes and aims for the project moving forward. So before we get onto the project, I'm just going to talk a little bit, not too much about me, but just so that you can get an understanding of where I've come from and why I've sort of begun the project. So I'm presently a full-time photographer and speaker. I've been given some amazing opportunities through photography to do talks and presentations at the photography show with Sony, for the Societies on the Road show. I'm also part of the Sony Alpha creator family, which really sort of honoured, big fan of the Sony system, been using that as my main system for the last few years, and being able to have that support by Sony is really, really appreciated. I'm also a huge mental health advocate, as we'll get on to the reasons why. And as Colin said, so my main sort of genres that I sort of focus on are documentary, street photography and portrait photography. So my mental health journey began, I guess, in my early 20s. I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and sort of looking back through my life, I guess it's something that's always been there. There's a point where you start to realise that with my depression, it's a chemical thing. Whereas with other people, it could be various different situational things. But during a particularly dark, difficult time in my 30s, really unhappy with the job I was in, various other things, photography became a creative outlet for me, and it became an alternate therapy. I hadn't really sort of picked up a camera before then, but my long-suffering wife, bless her, sort of suggested to find a new passion or a new hobby. So that's when I sort of picked up the camera, and it was obvious straight away the benefits it was having for me. And like a lot of people, I guess, when you first get into photography, you try all sorts of different genres and you have a go at everything. And I was terrible at landscape photography, and I didn't have the patience for wildlife photography, and I was sort of really looking for the genre that kind of fitted with me, and that's when I discovered street photography. And street photography for me was just it was practicing mindfulness. I was getting outside, I was having fresh air, I was absorbed in the world around me. I was watching all these people, I was seeing different stories unfolding, and it really sort of changed my life. Photography, street photography, some of the images that I've taken over the years, and it's still very much something, unfortunately, I've not had much chance over the last couple of years, becoming a parent and obviously with lockdown, but street photography was my therapy. If ever I needed some time to myself, I'd go out and I'd shoot. And the thing that sort of really became obvious was I stopped looking down at the floor and started taking note of everything around me. And as cliched as it sounds, photography and using a camera really, really helped me to see the world differently again, which really helped build my confidence and helped with my own depression. Even during lockdown, I mean, it's been a difficult time for so many people, especially mental health issues, but everyone has struggled over the last 6 months. So again, I turned to photography as a way to sort of to give me a focus and to keep me going. So for the first few months I was documenting every day life with my daughter, who was 18 months, and just trying to capture what life was like then, because she's not going to remember it, but it was such a an important time in the world. So again, photography really, really helped me there. And I think this picture pretty much sums up how everyone feels about lockdown at the time. But I also discovered documentary wedding photography. During the low point, I actually ended up being made redundant. And so I decided to use that redundancy and that opportunity to give photography a go as a full-time career. Didn't know what I was going to do, but when I discovered the genre of documentary wedding photography, it clicked with me straight away. It was storytelling, but it was unobtrusive. It was, perfect for someone like me. There was a bit of an introvert in large groups and stuff. I didn't have to talk to people. I could just watch and document, and just be absorbed in all of these emotions and these stories that were happening throughout the day. And it's perfect for me at the time. And again, sort of doing all that, sort of, it built up my confidence. And I try and shoot unnoticed, but I don't always get away with it. And then as my confidence grew, I started getting into portrait photography, working with people one-on-one, and again, sort of that sort of connection with humanity and emotions, and working with people that didn't necessarily want to have their portrait taken but needed their portrait taken, and sort of working with them to settle them in. It was really, really rewarding for me to work with them and for them to have the end product that they were happy with. I've worked with some amazing sort of different people and models and professional people, and it's something that, I guess, again, going back to that humanity, that emotion, that empathy, that connection, is something that has really, really helped me with my mental health and my confidence. Photography is also, not only has it helped me with my mental health and built a new career for myself, it's also given me some phenomenal opportunities that I wouldn't have got if I hadn't have picked up that camera. I've like I say, I've been able to give presentations to hundreds of people for Sony, for the Society of Photographers at the photography show. I've made some amazing friends in the industry, some lifelong friends, and I even got the opportunity to go to Ethiopia a couple of years ago with a good friend of mine, Tommy Reynolds, and we got to go and visit the tribes of the Oma Valley, which was just, it's an opportunity that just I wouldn't have dreamt of having sort of 10 years ago. So that kind of a couple of years ago got me thinking about all this amazing stuff that had happened to me because of photography and how much it had helped me and the doors that had been opened for me. Was there something that I could now do to use photography as a way to help others with mental health issues? Like I say, it had been a massive part of my recovery of mental health. So if I could find a way to use that to help others, that would be a huge new goal and passion. And when you look at the statistics in this country, I mean, 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem. I mean, that basically it's guaranteed someone that is more than likely to be experiencing or have had experienced a mental health problem. And this is one of the most shocking things. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 45. And in fact, suicide is at a 2-decade high at the moment. Depression is the second leading cause of disability, and 70 to 75% of diagnosable cases don't get treatment. And the treatment for a lot of mental health problems, I mean, it doesn't require a lot of scientific research with medication and things like that. A lot of it can just simply be through support, which is should be there. And that's kind of why I decided to start the project Portraits of Mental Health. I think as a society we have come a very long way with how we recognise and support people and situations where mental health is involved. However, I still think there is still a lot of stigma attached to mental health and society's perception of people living with mental health issues. And the goal of the project really is to photograph and to interview and to document as many people as I can across the UK from all sorts of backgrounds and walks of life, to show that the types of mental health problems are as varied as the people living with them. It really doesn't matter about their age, their race, their colour, their religion, their background. It affects everyone from all walks of life. But the main thing is breaking down those stigmas attached to the mental health problems, to really show the people and the personalities behind the labels, so that people can start to understand a bit more that, you know, how mental health, you know, people with mental health problems, you know, really are. And hopefully that will then help people to stop feeling embarrassed, like they can't reach out for help or talk about their problems. So I'm going to start show you a little video of behind the scenes of the project, and then I'm going to share some of the stories and some of the pictures of that have been taken so far. So that was just a little sort of behind the scenes video of the shoots that we've done to date. Unfortunately, the project took a bit of a hiatus over the last 7 months because of everything that's going on, but hopefully the momentum will build up again. But like I say, the goal is sharing all these amazing people and all these inspirational stories.
Alex, I think we've just
gone off.
I was going to say, I think we've just lost your feed there.
Okay, 1 second.
So just while Alex is just sorting his webcam out, I'll just bring Mark back on. Sony is obviously supporting this webinar. Alex is one of your ambassadors.
Alex is what we call an alpha creator. So we have almost like a 2-tier system, and not hierarchical or anything like that. It's just we obviously engage with people on different in different activities. So although Alex is almost like an ambassador, it's not an official title. It's a creator, but he's a content creator, effectively, using Sony. And I work very closely with a lot of photographers and filmmakers across the UK and Ireland who have obviously gone out, bought the kit, used the kit as part of their workflow. And I have discovered them somehow, whether through social media or meeting people or word of mouth and things like that. And then we've pursued that kind of relationship from that point on. So as probably some of your members have seen, Alex has done some work with us at the Society's roadshows back last year, which is, I think, last year. It seems so long ago sometimes. and obviously with all the, you know, what's happened globally, obviously that's has an effect on our physical events. So, you know, we're itching to get back to do those physical events where we can continue to work with, you know, content creators like Alex to get the message out about their work, their workflow, and how Sony, you know, fits into that workflow and how it, you know, why they use it. And that obviously helps us to grow our system and help people maybe switch from other brands, or maybe, you know, obviously if you've got a product you've had Sony for a while, and, you know, step up through the range. So it's a storytelling thing that helps us obviously generate interest in the product. We do it in an organic way that's not hard sell. So, you know, this is all of Alex's words, all of Alex's work, with no input from us other than sponsoring obviously Alex's appearance for today. And if anybody is interested in purchasing Sony in the future, then obviously they can talk directly to Alex or people like myself, or even people like yourself through your position in your community, Colin. So it's a journey that goes wherever, but predominantly it's all working with content creators.
Brilliant. We'll touch upon that a bit later on, but it looks like Alex's feed is back on, so we'll throw it back over to you, Alex.
Brilliant, thank you very much. It wouldn't be a live webinar if there wasn't some sort of technical problem. So going back to the goal of the project, so it's sharing. There's been some amazing people that have been involved so far that are from all sorts of different walks of life, with all sorts of different stories. And the project really is about giving them a platform to share their stories, to get to know the real people behind the label, and hopefully reach people who are experiencing similar things that maybe will be inspired by them, or find comfort knowing that they're not alone, or maybe just given the confidence for them to be able to reach out and ask for help and get the support they need. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the very, very small snippets of the interviews and the people that have been involved. They're full-length interviews. They're fantastic. I really would recommend going over to the website portraitsofmentalhealth.co.uk to watch the full things, but I'm going to share some of them with you now just to give you an idea of the stuff that the project is about.
So I think from an early age I was aware genetically, mentally, I didn't feel the same as everybody else. I think you get a bit older and you just think, oh, I'm just the nerd at school, I'm just a bit of the in-betweener, like for TV reference. But then I got older and I realised it's a bit darker than that. It's a bit darker than just feeling misunderstood. And I think a large part of having mental health issues and the like is just acceptance. It's just accepting that it's a part of who you are and that's okay. I think depression, clinical depression in my case, can provide you with empathy for others, which is really valuable to take with you in life. And it's something that's needed in the world. I think the first time I wrote something and somebody responded to me, maybe on Twitter or LinkedIn or any of those platforms, and they said, this really helped me. I was feeling a certain way, and reading that made me feel less alone. And I think for the first time in my life, I thought, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. And I think people can relate when they find that thing and you think, oh, this is fulfillment. It's not just paying the bills. It makes me feel like life is worth living, and it's not all for nothing.
So that was a little snippet of the interview we did with Marianne. Wonderful person. I actually found her. She did a documentary piece, a short documentary for BBC Three, about her experiences of living with mental health whilst also being a Muslim, and especially around the time of Ramadan, how that sort of affected both ways. And it was fascinating to see the sort of the religious side of it, what her religion was sort of actually recognises mental health, and it was fascinating. And she's also an amazing writer, freelance writer. She's written for The Guardian and lots of other pieces and for blogs, and she's very open about her own experiences. And this is just what the project is about. It's about sharing these experiences that maybe someone else will connect. Maybe someone else is a creative writer, and they will then actually use creative writing as a way of getting their own sort of experience and feelings, and a way of sort of coping and dealing with what they were going through. I'm going to play another one for you now.
I was then put on courses of antidepressants, which were very helpful, but of course what we didn't know back then was that I had bipolar, and so of course it made me ridiculously happy. And of course I wouldn't go back to the doctors if I was happy, really, and so it ended up bringing on some kind of very manic and hypermanic phases, laced within some of my things. I had sort of like paranoid tendencies. I was always nervous of what other people might be thinking, or, you know, the challenges that I was facing there. I ended up being very heavily medicated, and stayed on the wards for a good number of months. I think I was even sectioned at that point. But then I feel there's a lot of the bits of the condition where you can, gives you focus, and there's a lot of bits of it that you can use to your advantage. You see, what I realised was all these tools and these little tips and things and these little techniques they're so simple. They're not complex. If it's complex, it doesn't work generally. But yeah, I think that it's so important that we focus on the things that can help us to, whatever that may be, whatever it is, it kind of then, it gives you that bit of energy to feel that bit better, and then you can approach it.
So that was an amazing gentleman who I've had the pleasure of knowing for quite a while now, Peter, who, as he sort of said in that, you know, he was diagnosed with bipolar. He's been sectioned. He's got some amazing stories, but he's used his experiences. He's a phenomenal musician as well, singer-songwriter, and he has set up several projects in the Leicestershire area to address these, you know, stigma, and he goes into schools to talk about it. He uses his band to sort of share his experiences. They've produced a thing called the Little Yellow Book, which is all about inspirational. People send in bits and pieces, whether it's poetry, music, lyrics, art, photography, things that they use to sort of basically make them feel happy, that they give to universities. I mean, he's done so much, and he campaigns so hard. So for him to come and sort of talk about his own experiences was, you know, really, really grateful for the project. Again, all of these people, they're all on the website. All of their social media and website details are included with their stories. I also get them to write their own blog piece to go with it, because I think it's really important that it's written in their words. It's not me rewriting their interview. So if you want to find out any more about these people and the people that I haven't had time to be able to present in this presentation, go and check them out on the website, because they are really, really amazing, inspirational people. I'm going to play another interview.
It wasn't probably until my late 20s that it became what felt then to me like a real problem. I had a lot of other things going on at the time, and there was one day that I got home from work and had a panic attack. And that was the day that I was like, this is your body trying to say to you, this anxiety is a problem and you need to do something about it. And so I went to my doctors. They were actually really good, and they gave me some temporary medication to help with the panic attacks, but they also recommended that I go and see a counsellor. I know now that it's not about being a failure, and it's not about not being good enough, or all of these other insecurities and fears that kind of creep out in that time. But when I'm in it, that is how it feels. You sometimes feel so alone and stupid and ridiculous for having all these feelings, but then as soon as somebody else says to you, I have that same thing as well, you're like, oh, I'm not that weird after all, I'm all right.
So that was a little interview of Naomi. She is a radio presenter, and she's presented for several stations, and she's done some things that she stepped out on stage in front of thousands of people at a radio concert. And, you know, if you were to meet her and talk to her in real life, you wouldn't ever imagine that she has sort of crippling anxiety. And that's kind of the whole point of the project. It's showing these real people. It's why the photos aren't, they're not particularly staged. You know, I'm trying to capture those sort of fleeting moments of a personality. So if they're smiling and, you know, the person's talking about depression, but in the picture they're smiling, that's fine, because people with depression smile. You know, it's people with depression, they laugh, or anxiety, and that's the point. So there's amazing projects already out there that kind of do visual representations of mental health through different sort of really artistic formats. But this for me was purely about showing these real people. And Naomi's story is great, and she talks about how she then discovered yoga and how much that has helped her, and then she she went to India to train as a teacher, and she now teaches yoga to help other people. And it's another really inspirational story. And even if it just means that someone decides to take up yoga and that helps them, that's fantastic. That's what it's about. It's just giving people ideas and inspiration, and just being able to get help and support. I'm just going to play one more for you from the project.
I was had my accident. I poured hot boiling water over myself, which left me with third-degree burns on the right side of my face, right side of my chest, arms, and my back. And growing up with my scars, I just remembered certain times looking in the mirror and just not really being able to connect with the person looking back, and especially not being able to see anyone with scars. Growing up, I didn't see anyone with third-degree burns. I didn't know what the different degrees were. Often in kind of really darker times and darker days, I used to I didn't really understand how I was going to cope and how I was going to like survive, and if I would actually find like anyone to accept me or love me, or just see me as quote unquote normal. I got involved with a charity called Children's Burns Trust, and they actually reached out to me. And they're based in Essex, and they're based in Essex Hospital. And I was lucky enough to be a mentor for young people, young survivors, and we done a week-long camp. I volunteered, just talking about experiences, and I just never had that growing up. And it was really fundamental. It was really moving for me, to be able to share that experience with them, and just even thinking about it. So every time I think about it, I do just get choked up, because they're just so strong and brave. I really want to tell my story how I want to tell it, and show the kind of span of what change actually looks like, and what loving yourself looks like, and the highs and the lows. So I want to put into a whole documentary called Brave Scar, and that's what I'm really excited about. And just meeting people and being able to talk to people and change people's lives. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about, really. Yeah.
So this was Justin, who's I absolutely loved having the opportunity to meet him and sort of spend some time with him. And again, his story, it's highlighting that, you know, I think a lot of people immediately, when they think of mental health issues, they think of depression or anxiety or bipolar or things like that. But obviously, it's the span is far greater. There's PTSD, there's different types of body confidence, body dysmorphia, anorexia, but you know, eating disorders. It's huge, and it can be minor and it can be major. And Justin's story is fantastic, and you wouldn't know to look at him there that, you know, his body has 3rd-degree burns from a childhood accident, and he's very, very open on giving the body positivity and sort of giving people confidence to be able to sort of just be accepted for how they are. And he's done some amazing campaigns, and you know, he's very, very open to sort of showing his scars off to the world. But when it came to the shoot, the obvious thing would have been to photograph him with his scars visible, but that would be defining Justin by his scars, which isn't the case. You know, this is Justin. I mean, when we took the shot, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know whether or not I should smile or not, because, you know, it's not something that I would really do." And I'm like, well, no, because, you know, this is you. This is the confidence that you're able to show. And like I say, he's done some amazing stuff. He does body camp, where he sort of works with people in his community to get people to be more confident in themselves. And his interview is fantastic. And like I say, it was such a pleasure to sort of work with him on this project. And that's one of the takeaways from this project is something that I didn't anticipate, is how much really sort of initially my goal was to help other people, but I didn't realize how much the people being involved would get out of it. And I know that, like Justin, seeing the images that we created and how much that sort of helped him, and talking about his story. So that was a great benefit for me. It wasn't something I anticipated at the time, but to have that sort of feedback was great. Like I say, please go, if you're interested in the project, please go and check out the website, check out their stories, read their stories, watch the interviews. There's more photos of them as well. But these little snippets really don't do them any justice. Go and watch their full thing. So I'm just going to sort of move on to the other stuff, sort of talk about the approach to it, and a bit about the technical side of it, and bits and pieces. I think the big thing for me in regard to the approach of it is having a really, really strong team supporting the project. There's a picture of me and Justin in the middle, but there's also James, who is the videographer, and Rebecca, who is the makeup artist. And not only are they there for technical support, but they're also there for emotional support for me, because there's been several times where I've been questioning the project. Is it too much effort trying to juggle everything that I've got going on at the moment? Is it going to make any impact? All those self-doubt things that, I'm sort of constantly fighting with in my head. But those guys have been there to help sort of keep pushing me on, and they've been absolutely instrumental, so that when we're doing the video, I know that James is taking care of everything technical, so that I can just sit and it's filmed in a way so that the people that are involved, they're just having a conversation with me, and I don't have to, I'm not distracted by the camera settings, I'm just talking to them. And Rebecca as well, makeup artist, she's phenomenal at what she does, but she's also instrumental to, the first thing that these people do is go and see Rebecca for the makeup, and it's very, very subtle makeup. We're not trying to sort of do anything crazy, but it's what's required for the filming and the photography. But she's also exceptional at talking to them, and through talking to them, she relaxes to them, because ultimately I'm asking these people to come and open up and share really personal stories about their life and about their mental health journey. And so and they've probably never been in front of the camera before, or they hate the idea of having their photo taken, which, if you've been on the other side of the camera, you know what that feels like. So Rebecca's great at that initial sort of talking to them, settling them down, and getting them comfortable. And that is a really important part, so that when they get to the interview point, then they're nice and relaxed. So, these guys really, really, really help, make such a strong team for the project. And in fact, having Rebecca involved with the project as well is great, because she's actually one of the subjects. She has crippling anxiety and all sorts of things, and she's got a phenomenal story again on the website. So to have someone like Rebecca involved in the project, to also be one of the people sharing the stories, as well as doing all the stuff behind the scenes and supporting the project, is it's great. And I absolutely love these guys to bits, and everything that they've done so far for the project. And like I say, that's the kind of interview approach. It's just a conversation. I don't want them distracted by the camera. It's informal. They can say what they want. They can take their time. We can take a break. It's just about getting that conversation. And I find that doing that before doing the photos kind of gets the most nerve-wracking part of the project out the way, so that when we get to come and do the photos, we can just have a bit of fun. And it's like I say, it's not trying to be super serious, and I'll get them to do something silly or pull a funny face if it just breaks the ice, even if it's cliched and a bit embarrassing. It doesn't matter. But I also find that one of the main benefits of using the Sony kit for me with this project is the fact that you might have seen in the behind the scenes thing, is that I rely on the eye autofocus a lot and using the back of the screen, because that gives me better connection with the people I'm talking to. I know the camera's going to be doing the focus and following the face. I'm not going to have the camera in front of my face and blocking my eye line. I can keep that eye line with the person whilst I'm talking to them, and I just know that the camera is going to do all the hard work, and when the moment is right and I get that sort of real moment of personality shining through. I can take the shot and I know it's going to be in focus. So that's one of the, the big reasons for using the system for me. It fits into my workflow, my style, and my approach really, really well. So the project's future. So obviously it's taken a bit of an impact over the last few months because of everything that's been going on. But I'm really hoping that, to be shooting up to, 50, 100 people around the UK from all sorts of places, and sharing some amazing stories, or just any story really that, might give someone something to take away from it. Eventually, the big goal, and something that I really, really hope to do, and for me would be almost a full circle for me on my photography journey, would be to get in partnership and support of a major mental health charity like Mind UK, where we could work together on the project with the goal of eventually releasing a book of all of the photos and the stories of everyone involved, so that people could access that book and read it and take whatever they want away from it, but with the goal of the profits of that book sale going to that charity to then be put back into supports and projects in different areas of helping people with mental health. And for me, that, like I say, that would be a full circle of photography giving me something when I needed it the most, to me using photography to hopefully helping others and supporting others for many years to come, and also to hopefully get some, it'd be great to have some celebrities involved as well, so that people can see a real sort of variety and understand that, it's not just situational problems. Seeing these influencers and TV presenters that being open about the fact that they're still struggling, even though they might have a good financial situation, or all the stuff that goes with the celebrity status, that actually the status, the money, it doesn't matter. I'm actually really excited that literally just a couple of days ago, I've started a conversation with a well-known TV presenter who is a Mind UK ambassador, who has said that he'd be more than happy to be involved in the project. So I don't want to say too much until we've kind of got all that, but that's a huge thing for me, which hopefully will open some doors for the project, and hopefully then that can reach some more people and help some more. But that's kind of the end of the presentation, really. Like I say, it's a small amount of time to sort of really share all this kind of stuff, but all of the information and interviews and photos and stories, they're all over on the website portraitsofmentalhealth.co.uk. Do go check them out. They're brilliant. These people they're amazing, and what they've done and agreed to share with the project, I can't thank them enough. And I just hope that over the next however long now, when we get back into it, that the project can grow and just keep sharing and helping others. But if anyone wants to sort of chat to me afterwards, you can hit me up on social media. You can go through the website. You can contact me however you want to. If you just want to have a chat, if you've got any questions about the project, if you've got any questions about the kit that I used, I'm happy to talk about the lenses, all the technical side of things. But yeah, that's it. And just once again, massive thank you to the societies and to Sony, who have been a huge support for me as a professional, and for supporting this project, and giving me the opportunity to do talks, and this talk in particular. And just thank you for everyone for coming and listening to the talk today. That is the presentation. Thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for joining us today, Alex. Fascinating project, really interesting. Lots of people kind of commenting, how kind of inspirational, the project is. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. if people want to, try and get involved in the project, I'd probably, would you suggest they kind of like help share kind of like what you're doing and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, please share links to the website, to the different stories, to all that kind of stuff. There's a contact form on the website, so if anyone wants to be involved, perhaps if you've got a story that you want to share, or you might know someone that wants to share, or anything like that, drop us a contact through the website. Happy to chat to everyone, and hopefully we can really sort of push the project forward and reach more people and help more people, and I mean, it would be greatly received.
Because that's why I kind of mentioned it. Obviously, to get these things going, you need help. You need to get the message out, and to help even more people. Then, if people can share the project, share the posts or anything, then please do that for Alex. I'm sure you'd be really appreciated, to get this story out further. Again, we've just got on the bottom of the webinar there, portraitsofmentalhealth.co.uk. That's where you can go and find out all the stories that Alex has been talking about, and a lot more background to the story. And of course, I presume that's where you're going to keep everything updated with how the project's going.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm rubbish when it comes to blogging, but I've got a list of blogs that I need to get up on there, because we've had some really good support. I've got some really good podcast interviews coming up about the project. It's been featured on BBC East Midlands during Mental Health Awareness Week back in May. So there's definitely a momentum there. So anything that anyone can do to help keep that going, that'd be great. But yeah, check the website or social media for sort of updates and features. But fingers crossed.
Fantastic. So, Mark, obviously, you guys at Sony and London Camera Exchange are kindly supporting this webinar. So, again, thanks for that. It's always really appreciated that you help organise these webinars for our members and support the educational value and all that. This one, completely different from what we've done before. We've done projects in the past, but this is something completely different, and it's great to have Sony on board, to help spread the word.
Yeah, it is, and it's thank you, Alex, for sharing that. I know that we did some kind of prep work behind the scenes to obviously make sure this is delivered very exceptionally well, and listening to your story and the project, absolute credit to you, and it's inspiring to myself and no doubt to others. So thank you so much. We're working with London Camera Exchange, and again, I'd say thank you to those guys for also sharing this on their social media feed and also advertising. So thank you, London Camera Exchange, for doing that. It really obviously helps, not just to obviously get the message out around the webinars, but more importantly, I think from Alex's project, it's paramount that we get that message out, and how hard he's working to raise awareness. So yeah, thank you again, Alex. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and London Camera Exchange, really, honestly, all the brands that are involved in supporting this project, I'm so grateful and really sort of privileged to be able to have the opportunities to share the project. So thanks to everyone that's been involved so far.
So just before we go, as we've just done a bit of a shout out to London Camera Exchange, you can find details of the lcegroup.co.uk in the bottom. Obviously, go and speak to them about any offers they may have on Sony equipment. If you've got any questions on kind of like the Sony system, then we'll try and grab Mark to do another webinar at some point. We'll put him back on to do another Q&A on the Sony stuff.
Absolutely.
Obviously not what we're here kind of doing today, but please do post any comments and questions down, and we can get them answered and possibly do another Q&A with Mark. Just a couple of questions coming in regarding the kind of project. Why we noticed that quite a lot of the photos were black and white. Was there any reason behind that?
Yeah, so I guess initially, I mean, for me, I've always liked black and white photography, and it sort of shows in the documentary stuff. And I think with doing these portraits in black and white, you get away from the distractions maybe of sort of the colours, things. If someone's wearing a top, you can really, really sort of focus in on the person without distractions. But there's also, it's quite a flattering format to shoot in. And also, you know, I'm ultimately, these people have an illness, you know, and I know from my experience that when I'm having a particularly bad day, you know, I'm not going to be full of, you know, colour in the face. I'm going to be a bit sort of tired. I'm going to be drained. So by shooting in black and white, you kind of, you make sure that you're producing ultimately a really flattering image of that person, because these are going to be images that, you know, ultimately they're bearing their soul in these images, and you're going to want them to be happy with how they look in it. So it's kind of, for me, it's kind of a mixture of, it's a classic look. I think it's the least distracting, so you can focus in on the person, and it's sort of the most flattering as well. So and also just to add that all of the images, they're shot, the lighting is exactly the same with every shoot, so that no one gets any sort of preferential treatment. It keeps it consistent, so that no one stands out from anyone else, so that when we have hopefully celebrities involved, you know, people won't feel like they're getting any sort of treatment over someone else, and it's, you know, it's repeatable, and we can shoot in any location. And also, none of the images, and super important, have been retouched in any way. So other than the sort of editing and the sort of the aesthetics choice, there's no skin retouching, there's no hair retouching, because ultimately, you know, it's that body positivity. It's about sort of showing the real person, and everyone involved is aware of that, and they're happy for that. So, you know, these aren't going to win awards for portraiture or anything like that, but they're real images, and there's impact to them.
Amazing. So what's kind of surprised you most about the project so far?
I think, I mean, I touched on it in the presentation, that, you know, it surprised me that the people involved in the project were getting more out of it than I thought they would do. But actually the biggest surprise is how much I've personally got out of the project from being surrounded by these people and listening to their stories. And it's given me such a, you know, an amazing sort of insight into other things, and has helped me in a lot of ways. So, you know, yes, the project is about helping other people, but at the same time it's helping me, and you know, that's kind of a win-win really for the project. But yeah, it's just it's keeping that focus on that the project has potential to help a lot of people. So yeah, that's definitely the biggest takeaway for me.
Brilliant. You know, and with this webinar, you know, it's possibly going to reach quite a wide audience. So, you know, anybody out there who may have any concerns about their mental health or concerns about someone else, what's the best course of action for them to do?
So if you're struggling, the best thing you can do to begin with is open up to someone, talk to someone, whether it's a friend, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a family member. The main thing is don't be embarrassed. The best thing you can do is talk about it. Like I said, you know, statistically, up to 75% of people with diagnosable mental health issues don't get the treatment, probably because they don't feel they can talk about it, or they're embarrassed about it. The first step is just acknowledging and asking for help, and then go from there and find the different ways. And if you can't do that, there's the Samaritans. You can ring up and speak to someone that, you know, maybe that confidentiality and that anonymity, I always struggle with that word, you know, you might be able to open up to them better. But there's groups, there's foundations, there's some amazing charities, there's different projects, you know, there's creative outlets. But the first thing is to actually, you know, to not be ashamed and not be embarrassed, and to ask for help.
Yeah, and help is out there, 100%.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So we're going to sign off with one last shout out for the website. So to find out more about this fantastic project that Alex is doing, portraitsofmentalhealth.co.uk is where you need to go to find more details on that. I think that's all we've got time for today. It's been a really, really interesting webinar. If you've only just tuned in and you've only caught the last 10 minutes, don't worry, the webinar will be on catch up on our Facebook page and on thesocieties.net/webinars, so you can rewatch it from the beginning at your leisure. So it leaves me to say thank you very much, Alex, for being with us today and showcasing your project. Mark, thank you very much for supporting the webinars and for joining us again. It's been really interesting, and I wish you the best of luck with the project, and that it goes far and wide, and not only helps as many people but raises awareness for mental health issues, which is really important. So thank you both for joining us today. It's really appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. Bye bye.
All the best.
Bye bye.